You're watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us here on this Memorial Day. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Evan Running in for Netta Ranpur. Many of you, of course, headed to the beach this morning, so we want to get a check of the forecast ahead of it. Eric, you were outside over the course of the weekend, right?
Yeah, a little grilling yesterday. It was nice and comfortable. A little bit of wind, but the sun came out, and it was just nice and mild.
Yesterday was improving quickly. We saw that sun peeking out. Today is expected to follow in a very similar pattern, upper 60s and low 70s along the coast. San Diego itself expected to be at 72 degrees and 77 inland. Mountains are still going to climb into the upper 60s, a chance of them breaking into the 70s with partial sunshine and a little bit of cloud cover, and temperatures in the 90s for those deserts. Current temperatures right now mostly in the 50s and 60s as you walk out the door. We also want to keep you up to date on traffic. A couple hours ago, we saw that signaler issued if you were with us. All lanes now back open after a pedestrian was hit and killed by a car on State Route 94. This happened around 3:30 this morning in the eastbound lanes near the Home Avenue exit. Still not clear what exactly led up to that crash, but the driver did stay on scene and cooperate with law enforcement. Signaler was issued, but Caltrans says this has now been cleared, meaning those lanes are now back open. So we want to take a look at what's going on in traffic this morning. So far beyond that, we haven't seen any major crashes or collisions. You see a lot of construction on the screen, but that crash is still with CHP on scene. So now that they've reopened all those lanes, you're able to travel smoothly on the 94 eastbound. Earlier on, all lanes were blocked off. That signaler likely going to expire or be canceled within the next half hour or so as CHP continues to clear any shoulder debris there and themselves getting out of the shoulder if they're still on scene there. So you should be able to head out at your normal speed this morning. Pretty light as far as volume goes across all major roadways here in San Diego. We keep you up to date all morning long on any changes that we see.
This morning, the nation is honoring every member of the armed forces who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation.
And San Diego, a proud military town with several events to mark Memorial Day. That's where CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is joining us. She's live outside the USS Midway this morning with more. Hi, Dana Marie.
Hi, good morning. Well, every year on Memorial Day weekend, the USS Midway hosts something called Legacy Week, and it's a series of events to honor our fallen men and women who made that ultimate sacrifice. Now, today, that ends with a 9 o'clock wreath-laying ceremony tribute on the flight deck here at the USS Midway. It's open to the public, but I'm going to share with you what else is going on in San Diego. But first, we're going to hear from retired Navy pilots about what Memorial Day means to them.
The true meaning of Memorial Day to me is remembering those squadron mates that did not make it back. And all of us that flew during Vietnam or any other conflict area, or even during peacetime, we lose aircraft and we have squadron mates that do not make it back. And this is a day of remembrance for them.
Now, that wreath-laying ceremony today at 9 a.m. on the flight deck here on the Midway is open to the public, so you are more than welcome to join. But if you can't make it here, the North Park Main Street Association will host its 30th on 30th Memorial Day event that features live performances and business specials along 30th Street. Now, the El Cajon Elks Lodge number 1812 holds a Memorial Day patio party starting at 11 a.m. today. Oceanside Eternal Hills Memorial Park holds its annual Memorial Day Remembrance at 11 a.m. today. And then Solana Beach public ceremony. It's free community events with Colin Farrar as the featured speaker. There also will be entertainment by Santa Fe Christian School Band. Now, for more specific details on each event being hosted today, the times when it's going to end, exactly what's going on and ways to pay tribute, you can head to CBS8.com, get a full list of those details here. But again, if you'd like to participate in this wreath-laying ceremony, 9 a.m. on the flight deck here at the Midway. I know many of us have today off, but of course, it is a special day to honor and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice. I'm Dana Marie McNichol coming to you live from downtown San Diego.
All right, Dana Marie, we appreciate it. We'll check in with you all this morning. And right now, local leaders placing wreaths at Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery.
This comes after local girls and Boy Scouts placed American flags on top of the 66,000 graves of our fallen heroes at Rosecrans. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to take a closer look at how these kids paid their respects. Well, this morning, President Biden is pledging to take action following the Texas school shooting. He and the First Lady were in Uvalde yesterday and met with the families of the 19 children and 2 teachers killed.
Meantime, the Justice Department is now reviewing the law enforcement response. Danya Bacchus has the latest.
The Department of Justice will conduct a review of the police response to last week's shooting that killed 2 teachers and 19 children at Robb Elementary.
As tragic as this may seem, we need to learn from this.
The DOJ says its goal is to identify the lessons learned and best practices to help first responders prepare for active shooters.
Obviously, the way that you develop policy many times is by learning about the mistakes in the past.
Parents want to know why law enforcement officers, including a federal tactical team, waited outside the classroom for more than 40 minutes before confronting and killing the shooter.
With the benefit of hindsight,
the Texas Department of Public Safety said on Friday, not engaging the shooter earlier was clearly a mistake.
Of course, it was not the right decision. It was a wrong decision, period. There's no excuse for that.
President Biden and the First Lady visited Uvalde on Sunday. The 2 laid flowers at the memorial outside the school, met privately for 3 hours with the families, and as he left a church service, pledged to do something about gun violence. 11-year-old Bella Barboza was friends with Ellie Garcia, one of the students killed.
Ellie was a very bright girl.
Bella hopes her friend's death will help spark change.
We need to get justice for these children, and that this world is not a good place for children to grow up in.
Funerals start this week for some of the victims. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
And this morning we're hearing from a San Diego native whose young cousin survived the Uvalde shooting. Melissa Abeda now lives in Texas. Her cousin, 9-year-old Kendall, was shot in her arm, her leg, and her leg was also hurt in that. She's already had at least 2 surgeries.
My phone started going off and I was getting a lot of messages, people actually from San Diego. It's just really incredibly sad, you know, to process that as a 9-year-old, I could imagine.
Wow, and Kendall's recovery expected to last several months. You can donate to her GoFundMe page. That is, of course, to help with medical expenses. We have a link to that on CBS8.com. And a local nonprofit doing their part to help kids at Robb Elementary after the shooting at their school. The Comfort Club in Encinitas is sending more than 600 therapeutic teddy bears to the kids, teachers, of course, everyone affected by that tragedy. Those teddy bears are on their way to Uvalde's mayor's office right now, and they'll be personally handed out to each family in the coming days. Their local support going to Uvalde.
Good to see that. Not good to see this. This morning, gas prices, a new record high here in San Diego County. Nearly $6.08 here when you round that up. AAA says nearly 35 million Americans expected to be hitting the road over the long holiday weekend despite these high gas prices. Gas Buddy says demand usually starts to fall in August, which could help the cost of gas drop a little bit because this is getting ridiculous, right? This morning, travelers are dealing with thousands of flight cancellations as well. Nearly 5,000 flights have been canceled nationwide since Friday. That includes 1,100 just yesterday. More than 400 of those were Delta flights. This morning, there are a handful of delayed or canceled flights out of San Diego, so be sure to check with your airline to see how they are looking as far as scheduling is concerned. If you're going to be heading to the beach this morning, local police and lifeguards, they want you to stay safe out here. There will be patrols on Mission Bay and at San Diego boat ramps to enforce the regulations. There will also be uniformed and plainclothes officers patrolling our beaches. Remember, glass and alcohol are not allowed on the beach or in park areas. Nice day to maybe head out to one of the beaches here, Evan.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are going to be following suit. So already we're starting to see that as the sun makes its way up, those clouds are not quite as dense as they had been mornings prior to today. We're seeing a ridge of high pressure move in our direction. As it does so, temperatures are going to warm up between today and Thursday. We're also going to see a less active marine layer in play. So that means each and every day we should see a little bit more of the sun peeking through as the day goes on, and not quite as much of those overcast skies that we had for a good portion of last week. It's 6:10 right now. Walking out the door, you're in the upper 50s and low 60s. Temperatures are mild overall. We've seen that marine layer stretch pretty far inland, but again, those clouds are not quite as dense. They're expected to break apart. A little bit of ebb and flow that we'll see over the next several hours. So the next 12 hours in San Diego itself shows that in the next hour or so, we should start to see those clouds break, and then beyond that, a lot of sunshine expected in the forecast beyond about 9 and 10 a.m. That's when temperatures are going to climb from the 60s into the 70s. 72 is where we should peak in San Diego. A lot of sunshine beyond that even, and then we'll start to see those temperatures decline following about the 4 and 5 o'clock hour. Ridge of high pressure as it moves in our direction. Like we said, those clouds are going to clear, temperatures are going to warm up, so you could see that climb from today through Thursday before another trough sinks in, starts to cool us down about Friday through Sunday, all above average 70. That's just Saturday really that we'll run into those average temperatures before climbing once again into the beginning of next week. We want to keep you up to date as far as traffic goes. No major crashes or collisions. We of course have seen the SIG alert now expire with this incident that was on the 94 eastbound. Again, we do know that one person was killed as a vehicle was passing through the 94 eastbound lanes there. Earlier they had all eastbound lanes shut down at that Home Avenue exit. Now we see those lanes back open according to CHP, but we of course are tracking what's going on as far as traffic goes this morning. Volume has been light so far, so you should be able to head out. A lot of green on the screen at your normal speeds.